Yes, thank you very much that we can talk together this morning about the outcomes of our initial customer workshop we did last week with your IT staff, and about the topics about workplace and application management and the current status and the pain points you have. And your IT staff give us the following major problem statements, and I want to highlight some of them and to go further with possible solutions. So one major problem statement was that our application management processes are in need of significant improvement. It's a big issue, what we see last week. Another one to highlight is there are many parallel but not synchronized developments and projects within your organization. Yes. And another one is we miss unified and binding standards and guidelines. Yes. And to highlight another one is we don't know where to start the improvement. So you are facing big challenges within your workplace and application management environment. And I want to give you a possibility, a solution how you can go through the analysis process and how you can solve the problem with a structured format. So beside a very powerful framework, Leading Practice developed an analysis process to analyze, assess, and improve your digital workplace. And I picked up three major components from these, and I want to show you briefly these three components. First, there's a standardized structure. Leading Practice works out that all companies and organizations worldwide are always modelable with with all 91 objects called meta objects, and these are described in the enterprise taxonomy. So you see a periodic table there with standardized objects and layers. Yes, and this is a standardized structure. And within the structure, you see, based on the experience with working with the structure and the meta objects, you see the relationships and interactions between every object that are known and can be used for the analysis and for the modeling of services and so on. The second component is proven and standardized work frameworks, models, and procedures. There are many of them, and yes, supported by tools like Enterprise Plus and many templates, which I will show you in the following of this presentation. So the third component is the reference content. Reference content is developed over years of experience with many organizations and enterprises worldwide, and can be modified and easily modified and fit into your project requirements if necessary, and you can rely on it after the analysis. But going back to the problem statement, I picked out our application management processes are in need of significant improvement. And in the following example, I will describe the analysis method in detail. I picked up an everyday process as example scenario. It's a user requests a software to be installed on his PC. In this case, the software is MATLAB. And as an overview, I want to show you a step-by-step solution for the analysis process. And in the following slides, I will go deeper to the single steps. First, you start with mostly unstructured analysis data. Yes, gathered information from interviews, documentations, technical scans, and so on. And it's mostly unstructured. In the next step, you perform the so-called workplace product object mapping. You map each single gathered object from the analysis to one of the 91 meta objects. In the next phase, you do the productization. This is the decomposition of all objects and to break it down in smaller components and to create a structure in your analysis data. After the decomposition, you perform the composition part. Yes, to compose, for example, services based on real-life scenarios. In this case, we will compose in this part, in my example, the software request scenario. And afterwards, at the last step, you do the modeling, you visualize the services and illustrate communication flows and create reusable standards. That's one of the major points here. And to see in the scenario for the example, it's in part one, you identify MATLAB as a software product. And in the product mapping, you pick the MATLAB object and map it to the application system meta object in this example. In the decomposition, you decompose MATLAB as a stereotype to application software. It's so you build up a structure in this step. Then you compose the MATLAB scenarios regarding application management processes. Here in this case, it's request management, and afterwards you create a model of MATLAB and yes, define standards and like for example the license validation process. But I will describe this later. So let's go a little bit deeper into the steps. The first step is to come from unstructured data to the workplace, to the mapping. And the first step here is to get an exact understanding of the object. Yes, if you don't know it by yourself, you can ask a colleague, a SME, for this topic, or you go to the internet and make a research to get an exact understanding what the object is. In this case, it's MATLAB. It's a software product. Afterwards, you use the enterprise taxonomy from Lead to identify the correct mapping for the object. And if it's not clear, you go to the Enterprise Plus tool and yes, check the semantics and the relationships, the mother-son relationships, and so on between the meta objects to pick up the right mapping for this for your object here for MATLAB in this case. Okay, the next step is product object mapping goes to the workplace productization. So we make a decomposition for the meta object. Yes, we break a system into small manageable subsystems. That's the decomposition. In this case, you see we have application system as a class type, and we have application software as instance, and as level 2, we say MATLAB is a stereotype. So we have to define levies and classify every object as instance, stereotype, and type, and so on. And if necessary and useful, you can add instances and stereotypes to get a useful classification. For example, if you have idle processes as instance in the part of processes, the stereotypes could be request management, incident management, problem management, and so on. And if you're not clear how to decompose this, go to Enterprise Plus and validate again the relationships to get a better understanding of the relations. The next step is to do the composition. So you describe and develop scenarios in a matrix. And for example, here the request process for MATLAB, and you have to define necessary roles and actors that are necessary for this scenario. Define all necessary sequence steps, and one major point is to keep it simple, and if needed, break down a complex sequence in several sub-sequences and or more steps to keep it simple. And then define affected instances and meta objects. Yes, and a very major point is that you consider the reuse of existing sequences and the creation of standards. For example, here with MATLAB, during the MATLAB request scenario, there's a step for license validation and assignment. License validation and assignment can also be a standard process. So you don't have to reinvent for every request scenario the license validation process. You can make an own standard process of it and reuse it in the request management process in this case. And if you are not sure to do how to go further, go into Enterprise Plus and check the semantics as well. The last step is the modeling. Go to Enterprise Plus tool and to model the sequence steps. the first step is to create all necessary objects that you are using in your sequence. Check if object already exists and that can be reused and easily adapted. Yes, and if also our models exist that can be reused, like for example, the license management process, reuse it also in your sequence. Yes, and there are some rules how to model your scenario. Yes, we have to differentiate between data process and information flow. Consider the flow directions for the communication. Every model needs a defined start and a defined end point, and afterwards we have to synchronize with the Merkwerk's composition map and the matrix to be consistent. And if you are fine with your model and it's ready, you can release it to other for reuse. Yes, and to get in standard. And this model is also then the base for further usage of the reference content. As a result, you come from unstructured analyst data and information, and you get standardized and reusable and interacting models. In this case, yes, you have a standard software request process for MATLAB in the example, and a license validation process for MATLAB in this example. And as a last slide from my side, some benefits, yes, from this process I've described for you. It's based on extensive experience with many customers all over the world. It is the creation of reusable standards for all of your processes. It's transparency and traceability in every step. Also, the reusability in all steps is very important. It is applicable to all areas, not only for workplace analysis. You can use it for cloud, for business analysis, and so on. The process is independent of the acting persons. That means that a consultant which is performing the analysis for you can easily be changed if it's necessary, and the work can proceed. And as a preparation to use of the reference content. So that's from my side everything. Thank you very much. Do we have questions?